He's a professor at Columbia University, the director of the Earth Institute at Columbia as well. He is also the author of a new book, The Price of Civilization, Reawakening American Virtue and Prosperity. Jeffrey, wonderful to have you on the program.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. So Friday we get the jobs report out, once again suggesting that we are in a very, very slow slog here. Even though the economy actually created 103,000 jobs in the month of September, the unemployment rate still at 9.1%. What do you think that tells us about where we are right now in terms of the economy and what could possibly be done?
First, we're adrift. Second, we're adrift near a cliff. Or near the falls, and so we have to be very careful. We can't avoid the double dip, but if things go badly in Europe, if our political class continues to misbehave as badly as they've done, there are big downside dangers. But even more than that, we're stuck. We're not in a business cycle where there's simply a bounce back. We have deep structural problems in this country. And both the Democrats and the Republicans are looking for gimmicks rather than real solutions.
It just seems like everything is laced with politics. So it's very hard to believe what either side says. And you say that the mainstream economic solutions prescribed by both parties are wrong.
The Democrats are for stimulus, which means that they want to jolt the economy back to normalcy. That would be fine if we just had a normal business cycle. But what we have is a structural break in the economy. It's been a long time coming. We can't compete in the manufacturing sector. We don't have the skills in a lot of the labor force right now. We have to reinvest in the country. The Republican is going back to its age-old and single gimmick and mantra, just cut taxes. But we're broken right now. The public finances can't support that on the one side, and we're underinvesting in public education, in science and technology, in infrastructure, in the energy system. So the idea that tax cuts are a way out is a little bit foolhardy and reckless.
You know, I feel like everything you're saying goes back to education and investing in our young people, investing actually in all of our people, so that we have the tools required to actually not just survive but thrive in this new normal.
What happened over the last 25 years is that good jobs that used to go to high school grads went to China instead of to our high school grads. That was covered up for a while by the housing boom because construction employed a lot of people, but then we lost millions of jobs in construction that are not coming back. And the real question to ask is, how are we going to be competitive at the top of the game, at the top of the world as we want to be, if only 35% of our kids are finishing a four-year bachelor's degree? Because what the labor market statistics today show is what they've been showing for years. If you have a college degree, unemployment is 4%. If you have a high school degree, unemployment is 10%. If you don't even have a high school diploma, unemployment is 15%. And so education and everything that goes along with that, the science, the technology, the infrastructure, the real productivity is where we have to be making the play.
So where does the money come from to put it into education? We need a whole new revamping of what our priorities are.
We do, and of course so much of the money went to the top, and that's the first place we have to look to pay for civilization again. The corporations are now paying less than 1.5% of national income in taxation because they're able to book all their international profits in tax havens right now. So this has to stay.
Right.
At the same time, the income at the very top of the income distribution is now about 23% of all the income for the top 1%. And they've had a reduction of their average federal tax take over the years as well. They have to step forward. They've gotten their political way, they've gotten their economic way, they've gotten their financial way. Now it's time for them to step forward and say, we're Americans, we're going to help fund the recovery of this country.
Well, let me push back a little, because on the corporate side, you know, most corporations will tell you that the U.S. corporate tax rate is the highest in the world, or second to Japan. Right now, I mean, we're looking at the highest in the world. So that may be true, but the problem is all of these loopholes that you're talking about enable some companies to pay no tax. So even though you've got the highest corporate tax for some companies, others are getting away with not. So you need a new tax structure.
That statutory tax rate is only on the books, as we all know. And what is really happening is that whereas we collected about 3% of national income in corporate taxes a few decades ago, We're down to less than 2% right now, and we're very low compared to other countries.
Final question here. Are we going to be able to fix this over the near term? I mean, what's your true expectation of how this plays out in the U.S., all this political infighting, and the implications of Europe?
We have a crisis for a number of years to come, but I think people are waking up and starting to see some of the deeper realities. They're not going for the gimmicks anymore. So a politician that's brave enough to step forward and say, I don't have a plan for next year or next month, but I do have a plan for the decade, is going to get a lot of support, because people know it's a deep crisis. It's going to take time to get out, but we don't need just a one-year jobs plan. We need a real way out that reflects the deep needs of this economy.
Jeffrey, great to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your insights. We appreciate it. And the book is The Price of Civilization. Jeffery Sachs.